heroes are humble. They have an inner pride to keep this idea alive. Protectors are born, they're not made. America's Secret Service is asking a few more to step forward.
Welcome back to My View. The United States Secret Service has one of the most important jobs in the world. These brave men and women usually operate in the shadows, but in this crazy world we live in, their job has become harder than ever. Just this week, we learned a Wisconsin teen charged with killing his parents also plotted to assassinate President Donald Trump. And the rifle-wielding man who tried to attack the president while he was golfing last fall appeared in federal court. It's the Secret Service's job to be ready for any threat, to put their lives on the line for those they protect. And no one exemplifies that duty and responsibility more than our new Secret Service Director, Sean Curran, who stood at the president's side when he was shot and nearly killed in Butler, Pennsylvania.
Said, take a look at what happened.
And when, 8 months later, the time came to reform and lead the Secret Service, Director Curran answered the call. His focus? Supporting the protection details, uniformed officers, and administrative staff who work tirelessly for our country. Director Curran is also dedicated to bringing in new agents who are willing to serve, to leave this agency better than he found it.
You've been part of the Secret Service since 2001. You've worked a variety of different jobs in a variety of different places. So I'm wondering how all of that experience led you to this place and prepared you for the role you're in right now.
Well, this is certainly a seat I never envisioned sitting in. I'm quite honored to be here. As we know, President Trump is the one who appointed me here, and I'm forever grateful. It's amazing. I'm still taking it in, and I don't think it's settled in quite yet.
Having worked as a Secret Service agent, having been his detail leader for 4 years, you have the experience that you then, can talk to these agents who you're training here at this facility where we are right now. And they can look to you and say, you know what, I can take his word for it. This is the guy for the job because he's done this job before.
Yeah, I think that helps, them seeing where I came from, the fact that I was operational just a few short months ago, and people can relate to that. And I can relate to the field, having worn that equipment not so long ago, and pretty visible. People have seen me. People know who I am. And I think that's important to be in touch with, the agents, the officers, and our administrative personnel. They've seen a different side of me.
Tell me a little about your relationship with President Trump, because you were with him for a long time.
We built a very strong relationship. We've been through a lot, obviously. From start to finish, it was quite incredible. Stuff that I think the both of us never thought we'd see or experience in our entire lives, but we were there with and for one another. It's just an incredible person. I got to see sides of him that most don't get to see, and if those were billable hours, I would probably be a rich man. We spent a lot of time together, more than anybody else in my life, really.
Wow. My entire family is very grateful for you in this role. And when people think about the United States Secret Service, they see the people who are protecting the president. And people assume, Sean, that that's the only job of the United States Secret Service. But there's so much more that happens.
There is. And it's important for people to see that human side of us. But what people don't see is we have an investigative mission as well. And also our administrative support is immense. In order to do this job, it's not possible without them. They're very special people. They're the people that often don't get recognized. When there's a foreign trip that takes place, it's those people that are behind the scenes that are doing the cost comparisons, that are ensuring that there's vehicles on the ground when the advance team hits the ground, and ensuring that people just, quite frankly, get paid. So there's many sides, and we're a dual mission agency. It makes us very special.
And I think one of the parts of the Secret Service that maybe goes overlooked sometimes, tell me about the uniform division agents. Is the training the same? What's the difference between a protective detail and the uniform division?
it's probably our second largest force that we have. They are certainly the first line of defense. They have the tough job of standing outside when nobody wants to stand outside, whether it's raining, it's hot, it's cold, and they do it with pride. They do it with honor. It's a very difficult job. You know, our counter snipers, that's part of our uniform division. They're on rooftops when it's too cold to be outside. They're up there. They brave it. Those men and women, they're truly special people. Our motor unit that helps lead our motorcades, that's also our uniform division. Our emergency response teams, our canine teams, that's what's part of our uniform division that most people don't see or hear about.
Everyone who is an agent of the United States Secret Service is willing to put your life on the line. It just becomes almost an instinctive response to put your life out there, be in the line of fire, and to protect the individual who you are assigned to protect.
That's right. It takes a special person to do that, and it takes a special training staff to prepare these brave men and women to take on those tasks. It's not easy, and that's why we're here, to train those men and women how to handle those situations where it becomes just reactionary. And it just really takes special people to do that, to put themselves in that position, and it all starts here at this training facility.
Has the recruitment gone up? Have you guys been doing anything special? I know you had the Super Bowl video, which was amazing, but you're looking for great people all the time.
We are. We're not going to lower our standards. We're looking for the best and the brightest. And I will tell you, having the support of the President and the Secretary, Secretary Noem, she's been very supportive as well. That's where it starts. We have that type of support from the Hill.
Whenever you're looking at a new recruit, is there something in particular you're looking for?
It's a different life that you live. You live somebody else's schedule. You know, finding that person that is willing to live someone else's schedule, it's not easy. This job is surrounded by great people, great moments, and just trying to find that right person, you know, sometimes it's them finding you.
You guys are always looking to improve and sort of up the standards at every possible turn. You guys are always looking for the next level of protection, are you not?
The mission is constantly changing. The world is changing, and the enemy is changing, and we have to be able to pivot with that. And that's what makes it so valuable. And you know, having relationships outside of the agency, for example, we're partnering with GM. They're helping us improve our vehicles, and it's a strong partnership. And having the correct equipment for the mission is critical.
One of your first official acts was swearing in DJ Daniels as an honorary Secret Service agent. Did you already reach the peak there with DJ on the night of the joint address to Congress? I will tell you, that was a special moment. That was very unscripted. I thank the President for allowing me to participate in presenting DJ Daniel with his credentials. It was quite an honor for me. I didn't expect him to jump into my arms, and now looking back, it turns out to be a pretty special moment. What does Sean Curran hope his mark is with the United States Secret Service? I want the best for the agency. I truly do. I've found that just putting the right people in the right places solves a lot of the problems. And this agency is made up of so many special people, and I'm just looking for new talent everywhere I go. Well, you have certainly been able to live moments in history that people are going to look back on. You've been able to travel with Donald Trump to many places. You've had a lot of different experiences. But I wonder what made you want to become a Secret Service agent? I think it's the job. It's putting people in front of you to protect the nation. It's our nation's leaders. There's nothing more special than that, in my opinion. That's what makes this job so incredible. We're once the shadow warriors, or the people that aren't seen. That's obviously social media has changed that. It's put us into a different light. But just that special ability to be able to put your life in front of someone else's, there's nothing like it. You can't teach it. Well, without the Secret Service, I think we can safely say that I don't know that this country would exist in the way it does. So on behalf of the entire nation and the entire world, I want to say thank you to you, Sean, for everything you've done, everything you continue to do, and for serving in this role as director of the Secret Service. We're all very happy to know that you're here.
Well, on behalf of the men and women of this agency, I truly thank you, and thank you for the moment to showcase this agency. It means a lot.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.